Hey guys, how you doing? Sensei Matt here. Hey, I wanted to offer some perspective regarding a topic that's been on my heart for 2 to 3 months now, give or take, definitely over the past week or so, and that's the topic quitting. Now, before I dive into my perspectives, I want to share one thing. I want to share some disclaimers first. Disclaimer number one, while I'm a parent, I am not a parenting expert by any stretch of the imagination. I am not a child psychologist or anything like that. I'm simply someone that has coached students, both young and both youth students and adult students in the area of martial arts. I've coached people in business. So simple as that. But I'm not a parenting expert or child psychologist. Simple as that. Disclaimer number two: I don't want this video to be used or the perception that it is meant to keep martial arts, keep students, to get and bring back former students, and worst of all, try to guilt those students that have quit. That's not what this video is designed for. It's not designed for that. Number three, this message that I'm about to share is actually really, when you really break down, is applicable in all areas of your life: school, work, business, relationships and friendships, other sports, in addition to martial arts, church and religion, and the whole spirituality and whatnot. Number four, this is just a general rule. It's not a case-by-case scenario because as far as quitting is concerned, there are variables, there are specifics that it's not cookie cutter. I'll give you an example. I have a student right now, that very elite soccer player, was doing very well, but the environment in which he was exposed to was not, it didn't fall in line with the family values, didn't fall in line with who he wanted to be as a person overall. It was actually very toxic. And so he opted to leave soccer, quit soccer. But I look at it this way: is he didn't quit soccer. He actually just went into an environment, into a sport, into a lifestyle that actually was more wholesome for him and his overall growth. And then number five, disclaimer: after what I shared today, fact of the matter is, you still can't keep a quitter from quitting. And more importantly, you can't keep somebody that wants to succeed, you can't make them quit. So with that being said, first perspective, number one, quitting is trackable. We, as parents, can see telltale signs when when a child becomes ill, right? Maybe they look pale, or their skin feels clammy, or they're sweating, or they don't have an appetite. They feel a little more lethargic or sleeping a lot. We can see telltale signs when they start to get ill. Likewise, as us as instructors can actually see when a student is starting to fade away. Maybe they're not putting their heart into practice or training, or maybe they're not practicing as much. Things come up, things like that. We find that they are just getting distracted and unmotivated, and that's been in class. And so perspective number one, quitting is trackable. Number two, quitting stems from emotion, not logic. In my experience, I've seen that oftentimes it's fear or avoidance based. As an example, we oftentimes have the fear of people or fear of failure. We live in a society today where we highlight success and we try to shun away failure, forgetting that on the road to success was built with failures upon failures. But we learn from each failure. And so there is that fear of failing, fear of being in front of people, right? Whether it is doing our forms, or presenting, and just the testing anxiety, or even just maybe you're sparring somebody and you're afraid that they're going to hurt you. Now, logic says that my person that I'm sparring, the person that I'm sparring is not trying to hurt me. My instructor is not trying to do harm to me. That's what logic says. But fear and emotion gets the best of us. If fear controlled us, then none of us would get in a car and drive anywhere. Because fear, there's obviously always the chance we're going to get into an accident. But logic says, well, I'm going to do my best and wear my seatbelt. right? And I'm going to be better equipped and drive safely and defensively. Perspective number 3. There's usually the reason a student wants to quit, and then there's the real reason. The first reason is oftentimes a smokescreen. Again, it all complements perspective number 2 of fear is based on, or quitting is based on emotion. Number 4, perspective number 4, the comparison trap. Oftentimes, students will compare their failures to other people's successes. We do that as a society naturally, unfortunately. We try to post the best picture on Instagram or Facebook, or, should we get a good side? How about you get my good side? Or how about you get my great side? We do that. And so we want to make sure that our students are not falling prey to that. Also, I've heard students that they feel like they should be further along by now. Well, my question always would be this. Have you ever earned, this is specific to martial arts now, have you ever earned your black belt at Airland 3D Martial Arts? The answer would be no for most people. Even if they've earned their black belt somewhere else, our program is different. So with that being said, how do you know where you should be if you've never been on that journey? So that's where me as an instructor, our other instructors and assistant instructors come into play to help guide people along the journey. So those are a couple things right there. Now, what are ways that we can help a student that, or help somebody that is on the quitting cliff, if you will? Well, one, validate their concern. Fact of the matter is, what I found is that a lot of people, a lot of students, they just want to be heard, they just want to be understood. Oftentimes, their reason for wanting to quit something, it doesn't matter how petty or how insignificant it may be, it is very real and very valid to them. So we need to validate their concern and let them know that we understand. But we mustn't succumb to it. We mustn't fall prey to it. Number 2 is to talk about it. And not just talk amongst yourselves, but actually talk about it with somebody that actually can guide you through that desire to quit. We as parents want to help our student grow, but at the same time, we also have this instinct to protect them. Well, helping our student grow by default means that they're going to be pushed out of their comfort zone, which as a byproduct, we as parents get pushed out of our comfort zone. And so sometimes the instructors or coaches are there to help push you both, you, the student, you and the parent, past your own comfort zone. Not to harm you, but to help you. Number 3, way to help a student is to help them remember their why. Help them remember why they started martial arts. And not even so much that, like, do they like it anymore, but more so help them remember what it feels like for them to overcome. Remind them to, like, when they do long sparring matches and they don't feel like they can go on, help them remind them how they felt after they persevered. Because the success is not when a student earns a new rank or wins the trophy. The win is actually when they're in the dojo day after day, week after week, persevering even if they don't want to. Number 4 is to challenge the desire to quit. Find out if quitting would help the student move toward their own goals, or help them find out if quitting would help you all move toward your family vision, family mission, and their personal goals. Lastly, number 5, model an example of how you're persevering in your own life. If they see us pushing past our fears and overcoming obstacles, then it helps them realize that they can do it too. When one dream is realized, 1,000 others become possible. So hopefully that helps you.